Okay, you've heard the term the cloud about a million times, right? It's basically what powers our entire digital world. But what is it really? Well, let's break it down and actually figure it out.
And here's the thing, whether you know it or not, the cloud is already a huge part of your life. It's kind of like this invisible engine that's running in the background of almost everything you do online.
Just think about it for a second. That show you binged on Netflix last night, that's the cloud. That quick email you shot off from your Gmail account, yep, cloud's doing the work. And every single photo you save to Google Photos, you guessed it, it's all happening in the cloud.
So, we're using it all the time. But what is it? Is it some giant, fluffy computer floating up in the sky? Huh, not exactly. The real answer is actually way, way cooler.
So here's the textbook definition. At its heart, cloud computing just means we're using a whole network of somebody else's computers, these remote servers, to do all the heavy lifting, like storing our files and running our apps, instead of making our own little laptop do all that work.
And that's really the big idea here. Instead of going out and buying your own super powerful, expensive servers, you're just renting them. You pay a company like Amazon, Google, or Microsoft a little bit of money to use their massive, globe-spanning computers whenever you need them.
You know, to really get this, there's a perfect analogy that makes it all click: the power grid.
Imagine this. Before the cloud, if you wanted to launch a big website, it was like having to build your very own power plant. Seriously. You had to buy all the equipment, hire experts, manage the whole thing. It was just incredibly expensive and complicated. But with the cloud, you just plug into the electrical grid. You pay for what you use, and someone else handles all the complicated stuff. It was a total game changer.
So we get that we're renting power from this massive grid, but what kind of power are we talking about? Well, the cloud usually comes in 3 main layers, what the pros call the cloud stack.
Okay, so at the very bottom, you've got IaaS, which stands for Infrastructure as a Service. Think of this like renting the raw Lego bricks, the servers, the storage, the basic stuff. Then you move up a level to PaaS, or Platform as a Service. This gives developers all the tools they need to actually build their own apps on top of those Legos. And at the very top, this is the one we all know, is SaaS, Software as a Service. These are the finished applications ready to go.
And while the first 2 layers are mostly for developers and big companies, that top layer, SaaS, oh yeah, that's where you and I live pretty much every single day.
I mean, look at this list. Gmail, Netflix, Zoom, Google Docs. These aren't really programs you install on your computer anymore, are they? Now, they're services you just log into online. They're perfect examples of software as a service, all running completely in the cloud.
Okay, so now we know what the cloud is and the different shapes it can take, but why did it just completely take over the entire tech world? Well, the answer comes down to a few really powerful advantages.
First up, scalability. This is huge. If your app suddenly goes viral, you can instantly get more computer power on demand. It's also super cost-effective because you only pay for what you use, just like your electricity bill. It's accessible from pretty much anywhere you have an internet connection. It's incredibly reliable, with all sorts of backups built right in. And it's super secure because it's being managed by companies that have some of the best security teams on the planet.
Now, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. Not everyone plugs into the cloud in the exact same way. Companies actually have a few choices, and it usually depends on what they need for things like security and control.
So most of us use what's called the public cloud. That's a huge shared infrastructure run by providers like Amazon. But for companies that need extra security, like a big bank, they might build a private cloud that's completely dedicated just to them. And you know what? A lot of companies use a hybrid approach, kind of mixing and matching to get the best of both worlds.
So what does all this look like out in the real world? Honestly, the scale of it is just mind-boggling. Some of the biggest, most popular services on the planet are built entirely on the cloud.
So every single time you're watching a movie, Netflix is using Amazon's cloud, AWS, to send it to you. That's how they can handle millions of people all watching at once without their systems crashing. The billions of photos on Google Photos, they live on Google's cloud. And services like Dropbox or OneDrive, that's pure cloud storage. It's all living proof of just how powerful and massive this whole thing is.
So look, if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. The cloud is just a better, smarter model for computing. It's all about renting what you need, exactly when you need it. It's scalable, it's flexible, and it's the reason our digital world can exist everywhere, all at once.
But that leaves us with one last, really fascinating question. If the cloud isn't literally up in the sky,
Then where is it? What does this cloud actually look like in the real world? Something to think about.